As always, text someone, write someone, or call someone. You can even take a message and put it on a pigeon and fly it to them. And tell someone that you appreciate them and that they have value. Because where you are today in life, you didn't get here by yourself. Someone helped you along the way. My name is Dr. Averiel Taylor. Welcome to the M1 File. Today, we're going to talk about, it's a question. And I've been wrestling with this, and I've heard it many, many times in life. And the question is a compound question. Who sits at your table? Or whose table do you sit at? Now, sure, I do understand at is a bad word, and Mrs. Hutchinson can hear me say that word at the end of the sentence, she will have a fit. But just for this dialogue with you, whose table do you sit at, or who sat at your table? I was in a meeting with a bunch of men, young men. They was in their 50s, so we can say middle age. And they was talking about how they got where they were and some of the challenges that they had. And one of the men, one of the young men stood up and said that his journey started when he was in college and he was playing football. And he teamed up with a friend of his who was playing outside linebacker and he was playing middle linebacker. And they began to lift weights together and they began to challenge each other. And they had made a commitment that they wanted to become a millionaire. And they was gonna work hard to get there. And they was willing to do sweat and tears, long hours, long studies to get there, and they wanted to challenge each other. One major, I think it was a CPA, and the other one was in finance. And they would lift weights, and they would just challenge each other how to lift more reps, how to lift more added weight, and how to go to class on time, how to study, and they just potted themselves together. And they went one-on-one, and they all got drafted. And the goal was to stay in the NFL for 45 years, and that's it. They was going to take their money, and they was going to invest in their company and move forward with their goal. But one of the problems they had, as they began to move forward, and I'm using the illustration that I have before me as a table. This would be our little metaphor for today. And we all of us have set to some type of table in life. As a little boy, we used to have where we had the grown folks table where they ate at, and we had the young kids, it's where we ate at. And I know at is a bad word, okay? Because grown folks talk about grown folks stuff. Young folks, we talk about young folks stuff. But as a young man, you always peep around the corner. One day you say, I want to get to the grown folks table. Because they be laughing and talking, saying they're having a good time at that table. And I told my father one day, I said, one day I'm going to sit at that table. And I'm going to sit to the head of that table one day. My dad told me, he said, Avery, it don't come light. You have to work at it. Long hours and sweat and tears. Because to sit at that table is a great responsibility. He said, stay at the children's table as long as you can. Because most of the time at the children's table, you just eat, have fun. The biggest thing they would tell you, eat all your food that you can grow up to be big and strong. And that's all the things they went at the children's table. They serve you, they went on and on and on. And one day I grew up and I had a chance to sit at my own table. I thought about my dad when he told me, it comes with a responsibility. Even though you sit at the head of that table, it sounds good. You get a chance to eat the breast of the chicken or even the wings. At the little table, we ate the leg and the thigh. It's still good chicken, but seeing like we at the head table, you had your choice. Let's speed forward just a little bit. One of the things they said in the meeting of the dialogue with the gentleman who became a millionaire, they said to work to get there was challenging, but as they looked back over, it wasn't so hard. One of the biggest challenges they had was maintaining at the table. Because what happened is they started inviting people to the table that didn't bring anything to the table. They came to the table to eat and feast, but they didn't bring anything. They became a sponge. And they took from the table and they went away. I don't know about you, but in my family, and I'm going to prejudge and say many of you all's family, you always had an Uncle Bubba. In my case, it was Uncle Tiny. They came to the family reunion, but they didn't bring anything. But they will come every year to the family reunion or to the Thanksgiving dinner and didn't bring anything, but always carried back with them something called a care package. Always. And what happens, we got accustomed to it. Uncle Tiny gonna come, we're gonna have a lot of fun, he gonna tell some jokes, and it's like going fishing. You first start off with one fish, then about 50 years, it becomes a big, huge fish. The same story. And I can assume that in your life it's the same thing. People come in your life. They take your energy, they take your time, they take your wealth, they take your knowledge, and they leave and bring nothing. So the question goes today, who's in your life that is taking your energy, taking your knowledge, taking your time, but they don't add anything. They don't bring anything. If we was writing something down today, I like to say, put a question mark by that. And I'm assuming that we all have some kind of value, and we all want to matter to something. We all want to have some type of worth. And it's not always good to just give away your time to others or give away your energy to others. Because what happens when you need some time from someone or you need some energy from someone, it's not there. And next thing you know, there comes a word called failure. There comes a word called burnout. There comes the word begin to challenge your inner space. Who sits at your table and what do they bring? These two gentlemen, they built their company and they done well. But inviting so many people in their lives to take up that space, the company almost went bankruptcy, as well as they lost their marriage and they lost who they were and what their goals in life. And the question still remains in their lives today as they begin to share this story with us, is that they had people at their table that didn't bring anything, but they left with everything. I want to challenge today, if you're going to maintain achiever in life, you have to get to the place to have principles and ask this question: who can sharpen you to be better as you begin to sharpen them? There's a story that I heard a long time ago, and it's about a guy named James Patrick Kennedy. And James talks about 6 men on a cold night, and they were sitting around the fire. And the only thing they had to do was last through the night, that's all. Last through the night. And when morning came, people was going to come and rescue them and take them to health. And they all had a stick of wood. And during the night, all they had to do was take their stick of wood, a log, and put it on the fire to maintain to the night. And one of them was sitting around the fire, and he wouldn't put his wood on the fire because he was white and there was a black guy there. He said, no way, I'm gonna let my wood heat up this black guy. So he didn't do it. And this guy sit there and he saw the other 5 guys were not of his faith. And he said, I'm not gonna put my wood on this fire to maintain through the night and keep them warm if we're not of the same faith. Next guy looked around, and he said, no. This guy was a well-dresser, custom-made suits, shirts, and everything. And he said, I'm not gonna put my law on this fire to warn these lazy people who sit around here with all these ragged clothes. There's no way I'm gonna do that. Then the next man sat there, a wealthy man. He saw all these poor people. He said, there is no way I'm gonna stoop that low to keep them warm. If anything, they should bring something to keep me warm. And he refused to do it. Then there was the last man who said no. He said, I believe in receiving and not giving. Through the night, the fire went out. Next morning, they all was dead because they froze to death. And to be honest with you, they didn't die because of the weather. They died because of the hardness within them. I have found out that many people fail in life because they invite people in their lives that don't bring anything but want to take things away from their lives. Now, I do understand that there's poverty in life. I get that piece right there. But also, I believe that through God's nature, we all have a gift. And we all have some type of talent. And we can take our talent and build on it, that we can build a strong table that can move to some type of success. Now, sure, I do understand that success for one person may not be success for the other person. But I do believe that achievement is universal, the same. And that's moving from one level to another level. And you can take a little something and make something big. Like, for example, I love the stock market. I love it. I love it. I love the stock market. I really do. When I go to, I don't go to McDonald's that much, but Wendy's, the average burger or the average, I guess I would say meal gonna cost you $5 to $6, sometimes $7. And that's a drink, a burger, and some fries. Somewhere in that area. But you can buy a stock for $5 or $6. If you do well, or you do some digging, some research, you can find a stock maybe for $6 to give a dividend. So you're saying, okay, I'm gonna skip McDonald's or Burger King, Burger Chef, Jack in the Box, or whatever, you know, the fast food restaurant, Kentucky Fried Chicken, or whatever the restaurant. If you're spending $10 for dinner or lunch or whatever, you're gonna say, I'm not gonna do this right here, I'm gonna spend it right here. Say it's a stock to give a dividend of 11 cents per share. And you gave up 6 meals. That's $60. And you bought 6 shares of stock. That's the beginning. So if they give a monthly dividend of 11 pennies, that's 11 pennies times 6. And you did that for 12 months. You begin to do a little something. And that will move you out of poverty. Or move you toward stabilization. My point is this. If you're sitting at a table in life, and this table is not moving you to the next level, change tables. If you're sitting at a table in life where people are coming and not bringing anything, I challenge you, it's time for you to get up. and go to another table. Because you only have one shot in life. In other words, you have one life. And then if there's failure in that one life, you don't get a second chance because it's over. And sometimes you can make one decision that would take 18 to 19 to 20 years to try to turn it around. That's 18 or 19 years of just going through, now you use the word badness, turmoil, sadness in life, doubting yourself in life. As my grandmother would say, you just waste your time. So when we get to the place in life, there's a challenge. Make sure we sit at a table that will give good advice. We sit at a table that everyone come in and bring something that you can make sound decision and go forth. The last story I want to share with you, and I want to say thank you for the time. There was a young man who had worked very hard. He lifted weights, he ran, and he worked hard all summer. He was going out for the high school football team. He was a little short, but he worked hard. He worked hard. He didn't make the team. Didn't make the team. And he asked the coach, he said, "Coach, I can't be a starter. I'm not even on the second team. But I want to bring something to the table." And the coach said, "The only job I have open is assistant manager." And he asked the question, "What do assistant manager do?" He said, "Well, that's a good name for a water boy." And this team, they was undefeated. They hadn't lost no game in 2 years. And he became the water boy for this team. And he was coming in for the third year championship game. And the first half, they was down 21-0. The year was passing by. They was undefeated. But this was a championship game, and they was going to go home with their tail between their legs. And it came in halftime, heads hanging down. And the coach asked the question. He said, "For those who is not bringing anything toward this table, don't come back out for the second half." He said, "For those who don't want to be a champion, don't you come out." He said, "I only want some people who want to bring something to the table more than what they take away from it." The young man was a water boy. He said he went out there and he made an effort. And he said no one is going to thirst for water. And he made sure whenever those linemen came off the field, they had the water bottle in front of them. Even coaches had water bottle in front of them. And they went on and on. He made sure everyone had a sponge, they had a towel, they had so much water because he made a commitment that he's going to bring something to the table to be a champion. They won the game. And when we asked him what was the score, he said, "I don't know." He said, "But I know one thing. No one can say they didn't have any water. No one can say they didn't have a towel that was wet to give them refreshment." Can you say that today in your life? Can you say the table that you sit, that you're giving everything you have to make sure that people who are around at that table can go to the next level? Can you really say that? Can you say that you're giving more than what you're receiving? Or you're receiving more than what you're giving? I found out some things in life that the more you bring to the table, the stronger the table is. The more you build who you are, the more powerful the table is. The more knowledge, the more you put into study, the more you put into preparation, the more that table begins to strengthen itself, they can go to another level. Thanks for your time today. My name is Dr. Avriel Taylor, and remember, text someone, call someone, Even take a message and put it around a pigeon and fly it to someone and tell them thank you and that you appreciate them. Because where you are and what table you sit at, you didn't get there by yourself. I thank you much.
Hi, I'm Deidre Malone, the host of Dialogue with Deidre. You can find us on the M1 TV network on YouTube. Subscribe and follow us. You can also find us on Facebook at M1 TV Network, Twitter, M1 TV Network 2, and Instagram, M1 TV Network 2. Please follow us so you can keep up to date with what's going on the M1 TV Network with Dialogue with Deidre and Black Thought.